Hey Lensmates, Book Lens here. Find a comfortable space, maybe lie down and relax, as we settle in for today's Explainer. We're diving deep into a huge cinematic showdown, the Maddock horror comedy universe's vampire versus werewolf. So whether you're a diehard fan or just curious about all the hype, let's get into it.
So the teaser for this film dropped this line, and it's pretty chilling, right? Who is the most powerful? There is one more. Maddock Films basically threw down the gauntlet, telling us that a new and maybe the most dangerous player was entering their cinematic universe. So let's unpack what that really means.
All right, so this new film, Thamma, isn't just a standalone story. Not at all. It's actually the fifth piece of a much bigger puzzle, the Maddock horror comedy universe, or as fans call it, the MHCU.
And wow, when you lay it out like this, you can really see how this universe is just blown up. I mean, look at this. We get Stree in 2018, then Bhediya in 2022, a nice steady pace. But then, bam, Munja, Stree 2, and Thamma, all crammed into just a couple of years. It's clear Maddock Films is going all in. But you have to wonder, right? Does that kind of speed come with a price? We're going to circle back to that question, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about Thamma itself. This film is a bit of a game changer. It's not just about bringing new faces into the mix. It actually signals a really interesting shift in the whole vibe of the franchise.
So at the heart of Thamma, you've got these two characters. Alok, he's a journalist who kind of gets swept up in all this madness. And then there's Tadaka, this mysterious woman from the forest who, well, she's the one who turns him. And the key thing to get here is that their relationship, it's not just some side story. It is the engine of the entire film. This bloody love story is what makes everything happen, from his transformation all the way to that epic monster battle.
And this is where you can really see how they're positioning this film differently. Think about Stree or Munja. Those were straight-up horror comedies, designed to make you jump. But with Thamma, they're shifting gears. The director himself called it a romantic comedy film with some supernatural elements. So it's less about the scares and way more about this dark, bloody romance. It's a totally new flavor for this universe.
Okay, now we get to the part that had everybody talking. The big one, the crossover. This is the moment where all these different stories from the MHCU don't just intersect, they collide. Pretty violently, I might add.
So how does this epic showdown even happen? Well, first you have Alok, our journalist who's been turned into this vampire or a Betal. Simple enough. But at the exact same time, Jana shows up looking for a cure for his cousin Bhaskar, Bhediya, the werewolf. And guess what? An exorcist tells them the only thing that can save Bhaskar is the blood of a Betal. See where this is going? It's not just a random monster fight for the sake of it. It's a collision course, a desperate hunt. One needs the other's blood to live, which sets up this absolutely inevitable face-off.
But here's the twist. The fight doesn't end with a clear winner. Not even close. Instead, something totally unexpected happens. During the brawl, just a single drop of Alex's vampire blood gets into Bhaskar's system, and boom, the werewolf transforms into what the movie calls a next-level hybrid form. He becomes even more powerful than he was before.
And isn't this ironic? Just as that conflict resolves, a whole new one kicks off. The fight is over, but now Alec, the vampire, is told to beat the real big bad, Yaksha-san, he needs, you guessed it, the blood of a Bhediya. So their rivalry just turned into this weird symbiotic alliance. They need each other.
So, with a concept this huge, how did the world actually respond? Well, as you can imagine, the box office numbers rolled in, and the reviews, well, they were pretty divided.
Right out of the gate, Thamma did pretty well. It brought in almost 25 crore rupees on its first day in India. And, that's a really solid opening for any film.
But a number is just a number until you add some context, right? When we put it up against other big horror comedies, things get interesting. You can see here it didn't quite hit the opening day numbers of the last MHCU film, Stree 2, and it was also behind Bhool Bhulaiyaa 3. So, yeah, 25 crores is good, but this might just be the first little clue that maybe, just maybe, audiences are starting to feel a little full. Remember that question we asked about expanding too fast?
And the critics, they were all over the place. On one side, you had outlets like Bollywood Hungama saying it was a well-packaged entertainer, and that the MHCU is definitely a franchise still worth keeping an eye on. But then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you had others who just didn't like it. The Week called it soulless, unexciting, and instantly forgettable. Ouch. Their big complaint was that the story felt half-baked and that it leaned too much on comedy instead of horror. And this split wasn't just with critics. You could see the exact same arguments happening in fan forums online.
So you've got this mixed reception, you've got that super fast release schedule. It all kind of leads to one big conversation about the future of the MHCU.
And this is really the elephant in the room, isn't it? Is the MCHU facing universe fatigue? Are we getting too much too soon?
If you spend any time online, you'll see these concerns pop up everywhere. Fans are worried. They hear rumors of 8 more films coming down the pipeline, and they're afraid it's becoming quantity over quality. You see a lot of comparisons to the MCU's decline, with people worried that this thing they love is just going to get watered down. And honestly, it's a valid concern. Is Bollywood just oversaturating another popular genre?
So, here's the bottom line. The whole vampire versus werewolf clash was, without a doubt, an epic moment for this universe. A huge milestone. But it also feels like a crossroads. It makes you wonder, after monsters have already clashed, what's the next frontier? Where do they go from here? And maybe the most important question of all is, can the MHCU keep up this pace without losing the magic that made it so special in the first place? Thanks for joining this explainer, Lensmates.